I didn't see a
Good.
countdown. Should there be a countdown?
Okay, you drop it now. Very good. We're actually we should be streaming live. Our TMP source is not connected. We should be going live to. Okay. We have got about a minute and a half. This is really bothering you about this eclipse, isn't it?
No, what's bothering me is all the well-meaning Christians that are out there yapping their jaw about prophecy that has nothing to do with prophecy.
Gosh, why are you such a hater, man? Why are you so angry?
Because it's giving good Christians a bad name. People think we're idiots. And truth be told, a lot of the people that are doing this are idiots. So there you go.
Gosh, it's so cold, dude. Why are you so mean to people? Why do you use words like idiots and stuff?
Because it's the best word I can use to get my point across.
There's a lot of well-meaning Christians out there who may see significance there, and what's to say it doesn't have significance? Why is it all of a sudden that prophetic significant events like that stop having any kind of power? Okay, we got 10 seconds here.
Well, if they're all talking to God, then God's going to
stop. We got 5 seconds. Good morning and welcome to the Breakdown, everybody. This is Aaron Barker broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep behind enemy lines, asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible study and sent to therapy. Thank you all so very much for the opportunity to be in your vehicle, office, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, outhouse, or doghouse, wherever it is you may be listening to the Breakdown today. We are grateful for all of those who are taking the time to listen to us and be with us as well. So back in the saddle again today. Our apologies for not being out there with you last week and appreciate everybody's concern for us. I got zeros and zeros of emails about where I was. I felt very good about myself last week, to be honest with you. We are sans Erica today. She is out of town. I don't know where she is. But she is out of town today, so she is not going to be able to be with us. However, you have me, Aaron Barker, your wonderful furry fuzzball of a host. And then also with us is Brian, the bearded pastor. Brian Jackson, good morning, sir.
What is up, people? Good to see you all today.
Yes, it is. All right, you can also be a part of the show today. If you go to breakdradio.com, click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. You can leave your sound off. It is there where we will play whatever it is you have to say to us so that we can listen, we can interact, we can talk, we can see what great things are happening on your side of the board, your side of the microphone. So things seem to be moving along in the world. Nothing tends to take a break. Everything continues on. You know, Brian, doing a live show like this, you always have to have content. The thing that I focus that I probably am the most self-conscious about is the fact that I am that I'm not very good at intros. So I try to figure out ways to intro to do better at the introductions, etc. But like the intro that I use to the show, I use it like that because I've said that for years. My first fill-in for Richard Barrett over on the Crusade channel, I ended up doing the vehicle, office, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, outhouse, or doghouse as a way to pull from the Fugitive with Tommy Lee Jones. But I did that. So but I know it. I know what to say every week. So I'm like, okay, I've at least got this. That's kind of like my foundation. But then you have the fillers between segments and the fillers before and after breaks, etc. And I wonder how many performers have problems with that. And one of the performers that has problems with that is Madonna. She's had a couple of gaffes in the past few months, and this is none different. This is her.
Gaffes is a good way to put it, but I wouldn't call it a gaffe. I mean, she's just not right.
No, So she gets political. Like a lot of these pop stars, they get political. I don't understand why they get why they. Of course, I don't. I say I don't quotey fingers care. They do have a lot of influence, but they do say a lot of political things. They try to influence their audience to vote, etc. All those kind of things like that. But Madonna was in Los Angeles. This is back last week. She was in Los Angeles, and there was some audience interaction that was happening. So she decided she would call out somebody in the audience that was not standing. So here's that interaction that she had with this audience member.
Take this ride with me. What are you doing sitting down over there? What are you doing sitting down? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Politically incorrect. Sorry about that. I'm glad you're here.
So she points out this person in the audience, and she starts saying, "What are you doing sitting down over there? What are you getting sitting down?" And then after she calls the fan out, she walks over to the stage, and a spotlight shines down on this audience member who was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. That's reminiscent. Was it which president did that? One of them called out a guy, told him to stand on up, and he was in a wheelchair.
That was Joe Biden. He was like,
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry. That was cold. That was cold.
Yeah, but she's like, okay, politically incorrect. Sorry about that. But anyway, it had, I think it's pretty funny just seeing these pop stars. There's things like that happen too. I don't know. It's got a boatload of views, ton of comments. Some of the comments are like, I feel like she should have refunded that person's ticket. And she says, another comment says, politically incorrect. Oh my days, Madonna. And then Madonna needs to wrap it up. Ma'am, there are 100 reasons why someone might sit, and all of them are valid. That's that, but that is legit. Like I know folks who and I know this is a bit different, but I know folks that are in very fundamental churches that when you stand, like in Pentecostal churches, and this is only because this is the example I know of that I heard this week. Like during the altar call, when the pastor, the preacher, whomever, calls the folks up to the front of the church to pray, at the end of the service. So traditionally, if you're not part of, an evangelical church or a Protestant church, typically what happens is the pastor will preach, and after the pastor preaches, there'll be a call to action, and this call to action is either salvation. If you want to receive Christ, come forward. Right. If you want to rededicate your life, or if you need prayer for healing, or if you want to stand in for somebody. Now, when we say stand in for someone, that means that I would go up and represent a person, saying, I'm here to receive prayer in behalf of or on behalf of X person who is sick. And they would do these altar calls, and it is biblical. It does talk in James about if you're sick, come to the elders of the church. They'll anoint you with oil. They'll pray the prayer of faith. If you have any sins, they'll be forgiven. Your sickness will be healed, etc. So there are churches though that require people to stand the entire time. If you sit, then you're frowned upon, you're looked down upon. And especially if you're a child, parents are to make sure you stand up. And I think it's very legalistic to do that. But then, if you're at a concert or you're hanging out doing something, if you don't want to stand up, I paid to be here to hear you sing. I didn't pay to come here so you can browbeat me for not standing up. There are a myriad of reasons why I may not want to stand.
The funny part about it is, Aaron, is I've been to lots of different kinds of concerts. And one of my favorite concerts, of course, if you know me, well, but I don't know if the audience does. But I love jazz. And if you go to a jazz concert, it literally is about the music. It's not necessarily the hype. And you've got all these guys up on the platform, and just whatever instrument they're playing, whether it's Rick Braun or whether it's Boney James or Dave Koz, these guys are up there with their instrument. And they're just jamming out, right? They're just having a great time. You can go to the same tour, same concert, different cities or different venues, and it's never the same concert because they're just jamming out to the music. And I took a friend of mine to see Boney James one time, and she made the comment. She's like, "This is such the coolest concert ever because everything was going on there." And she said it's all about the music. I mean, it was perfectly okay to sit there in the audience and listen to the music because it was awesome. I mean, there was a couple of songs where he had you get up and stand up on your feet and that kind of thing, but it was just really so cool the way we did it. Like we went to see another I think it was OAR we went to see in concert, and they had like this huge they've got this song called A Crazy Night of Poker or something like that. And so the rule of thumb is that everybody brings a deck of cards, and when they start playing this song, like people start throwing cards in the air, right? So like you've got like, 6,000 people with like decks of cards and throwing cards in the air. It's kind of a thing. But what's really funny is when all is said and done, I mean, I've been to a lot of concerts that I'm like, I just don't want to stand for 4 hours. That's just it's not my thing.
Well, I mean, like, especially when you're old, like when I say old, older, I'm, we had tickets to go see Journey, but we were unable to go because it was 1 week after the fire. So unfortunately, we had to, not unfortunately for us, but fortunately for the people, some folks said my aunt and uncle let us live with them while we were trying to find temporary housing. And my uncle is a huge Journey fan. That was the very first concert he went to in the 80s. So we were like, hey, you all take these tickets and enjoy yourselves. So they actually were going to go back during COVID. My aunt had bought him tickets for his birthday, but
Yeah.
COVID happened and they weren't able to go. So we gave it to them. So you got to think about like groups like Journey and people that are our age in their 40s and 50s. When Journey was in their height of popularity.
Yes.
I'm not standing that entire time. Like I'll maybe like stand up for a song and like clap or whatever, but the rest of the time you're probably looking around and folks are just sitting down, looking at their watches, thinking if I leave now, I can beat all the traffic out of the garage.
Oh yeah. Well, and what's really funny is like we went to another. I can't remember which other concert. Maybe it was. I want to say it was Need to Breathe. We went to them their concert, and I thought I was getting really awesome ticket prices for. And I think they called it the gallery seating.
Seating.
Gallery seating is not gallery seating. Gallery seating is where you're allowed to be on the floor in front of the stage with no seats.
Oh man,
for 3 hours. Oh, that was rough, dude. That was rough. And that was back when I still had the blood clots and didn't know that was before I had the blood clot issue, and I didn't know that's what it was. I could not stand hardly at all. But we were literally 10 feet from the stage. So it was really cool to be that close, but I couldn't really enjoy it because I couldn't breathe.
So you can also chime in, folks, by the way, by going to breakdradio.com, clicking on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. You can also join us over on Rumble right now. We're having some issues on the Mojo stream right now because of the setup, the studio setup, and I'm working to try to get this kind of ironed out. By the time I get everything ironed out at this temporary studio, probably going to be in the more permanent studio. But we are broadcasting over on the Crusade channel, live radio, the way it should be. That's over at crusadechannel.com. We got a lot of folks hanging out with us over here on Rumble. We've got Deb. Good morning, Deb. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Ohio Buckeyes. And everybody else that's chilling with us on Rumble. And then also in the Crusader Stadium chat room, we have several people hanging out with us there. CRM 114 says, good morning. He said, this is why I'm not a fan of U2. I saw them once and Bono was preaching all night long about bleeding heart topics. I was so upset. Let me see here. I was so upset about spending my money on that. Yeah, and there was a time Bono one time was up on stage. He was doing a concert and he started snapping.
And everybody started snapping with him.
And he said, every time I snap, a child dies. And somebody from the audience said, oh my gosh, man, stop snapping your finger. Oh, there we go. So all right, let's see what else we've got here on the chum bucket before we get too far off in this. All right, now Brian, you used to go to drive-thrus. Now I don't know if you go through drive-thrus so much or not, but this is I think this is one of these cases.
All I'm going to say is the Lord's chicken is delicious. They've got grilled chicken that is absolutely a lifesaver right now.
For the first time in all the times that I've gone there over the years, for the first time, I actually was disappointed when I left there the other day.
Really?
So for some reason, when I was growing up, I didn't like onions or tomatoes. I'm sorry, onions or peppers or green, red, orange peppers, whatever. I didn't like anything that was spicy like that. Anything, I liked everything plain. So pizza was like, pepperoni or meat lovers or something like that. I didn't like any of the other things. The older I get, the more I'm like, I need a gallon of hot sauce. I need extra pepperoncinis. I need more peppers on that. Like I'm going to Chipotle and I'm ordering the fajita veggies on my bowl. I mean, I'm just craving this spiciness. So we go to Chick-fil-A the other day and they've got this spicy chicken sandwich. Now I know.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, so they have this spicy chicken sandwich, and I'm like, oh yeah, to give it to me. So not only do they have this, I don't like sriracha. I'm trying to like it, but I don't like sriracha sauce. But they had a sweet and spicy sriracha sauce, this new sauce. I was like, give me that. And so I got the spicy chicken sandwich, and I got the spicy sriracha, and it was good, man. Oh, was it good? So, but it comes with lettuce, tomatoes, and cheese. Well, I went through the next time and I was like, I want that exact same thing. So I ordered the combo, and for some reason it came without the cheese or the lettuce or the tomato.
Well, that's just heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. I was my fat little chubby heart just snapped right in half.
Were you just utterly destroyed for the day?
I was completely, Brian. I had to take a mental health day the next day.
Survive?
I had to take a mental health day. That's what I'm just being straight up honest with you. Mental health day. This young lady goes through a Taco Bell, and
the gift that keeps on giving.
She makes an observation, and I want to know if anybody else has made this observation. I don't know, in the past maybe 30 years. Let's check out what she has to say about these important topics.
Can someone in food management tell me why
so that we know what she's saying about these important topics?
I had sound on this end, so I don't know if you see it muted, but I heard sound.
Okay, awesome. Here we go. I actually had my side was muted, but that's good to know you heard it. Thank you so much.
Can someone in food management tell me why we stopped using the first window? Why did we stop doing that? Because it used to be oh, you pay at the first window and the second window got your order. What's going on? I noticed that stopped 2 years ago, but I want to know that. Is it we ain't got enough employees?
Yes.
Somebody get back to me. Get in the comments. Can someone in food management tell me why we stopped using the...
Okay. Let me see what some of the comments said. They say, but they keep building them with 2 windows. Yeah, they do keep building them with 2 windows. Same reason grocery stores got 15 checkouts, but only ever have 2 or 3 cashiers top. The comment said the second lane speaker is useless too because they'll just take one car's order at a time anyway. Then somebody else is right. McDonald's is the only one still using window 1 consistently. And but I've noticed this. I noticed this in Burger King.
Time out. Chick-fil-A is not using the window at all. You got 4 like at the Chick-fil-A here in Paducah, you've got 4 outside little miniature toll booth looking things that are sitting under this huge awning. I mean, those people move through a line like nobody's business, dude. You got 4 to 6 employees actively walking up to the car and doing everything they can to take your order and get you out of the way as fast as you can. So the McDonald's is not the only one using the first window.
Well, I mean, so Burger King they don't use that window.
I haven't seen Burger King use that window in probably 10 years.
Chick-fil-A, yeah. I mean, well, honestly, now, and I'm not trying to one up anybody. It seems to me like I remember. It's 25 plus years ago, Burger King did not use that second window. And I'm like, what's the point of having that window if you never use it? They always build those restaurants with that second window or the first window. And then they have a sign up that says next window, please. Then Wendy's is the one that I believe actually builds without the second window, but they still use it. But everybody automatically goes to, oh, well, it's because we don't have enough employees. No, I mean, it's just been a trend. If they need it, they'll use it. If they don't need it, they won't. Burger King had their business seems like it's declining in the past several years anyway. So I'm not quite sure.
That's the one thing I've never understood about Burger King is I've never been to a Burger King where they've been busy, but they're always there. I don't know if they're like a drug front or something, but they've always every town I've been in, there's a Burger King, and it seems to be open all the time, but there's hardly ever anybody there. I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe that is, maybe somebody can shed some light on that topic for us as well by going to breaktradio.com, clicking on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner, and we will leave that sound off as well. Don't forget, we should be broadcasting over on OpsLens today as well. If anybody wants to double check over on OpsLens, you can do so by clicking on facebook.com, going over to OpsLens, or just going to opslens.com, which is the website, and you'll be able to leave or you'll be able to check out the show there too. Let's see here. Now, very, very important topics that we're starting to show off with today. So Legendary Music Store, I believe it's Sam Ash, is closing 18 of its 45 stores across the nation, including its flagship location in Midtown Manhattan, which first opened in 1924 per the Music Inc. magazine, citing the St. Pete Catalyst. Employees have been seen hanging liquidation signs at a location in Clearwater, Florida. An employee who asked to remain anonymous confirmed that the Clearwater, Florida location is closing. He said, "I was told Friday I'm out of a job after just getting promoted." The employee told the outlet it literally came out of nowhere. Yeah, the good thing about those music stores is you get to sit down and play the instruments at Guitar World. Guitar Center. I'm sorry, Guitar Center.
I thought Sam Ash was like a CD or record store.
It says here. Let me see.
Or was it instruments? I didn't know they were in. Okay, I could
They
be
have
wrong.
instruments. They have instruments and CDs and music and stuff. But we used to have a place up here in Florence called Media Play. I don't know if anybody else had that, but there were two stores that you would go to buy your CDs from. My dad, I cut my grass every week. Sam Goody, CRM 114, saying Sam Goody was the record store. There was a Sam Goody at the mall, I believe. Up here,
there was. That's because back when I worked for Radio Shack, that was in the mall. They were still doing that back in the good Lord, what was that? The late to mid 90s. I think it was.
When was that? Talking about Media Play?
Yeah, well, Media Play, they were there in Florence, but there was another one. The Sam Goody, I think, was in the mall when I was still working for like the Radio Shack and K Jewelers and all that jazz. When I was a mall rat.
When you were a mall rat, yeah. So you were an employee. I was a mall rat.
You just came in to hang out with me and harass me. That's the other thing.
That was a lot of fun. I had a great time doing that.
And I know you did.
So what was I saying? What was so Media Play was kind of the place where you went to buy CDs. I cut my grass. Growing up, my dad would make me cut the grass, and he would buy me one CD a month. And I remember the CDs over there were like $10 or $11.
Oh yeah.
And my CD collection pretty good through there. And I lost most of those CDs. I still had a ton of those CDs and lost most of them. Actually, pretty much all of them in the fire. Whatever the fire didn't get the water and the smoke destroyed. And all right, here. So we got Good Citizen over in the Rumble chat saying, "I made it for the live show. Hello, y'all. Hello, Good Citizen." And we have J May. Good morning, J May. She's over in the chats. She says, "Our Burger King here uses the second window. Can't speak for the other places. I wish Chicago filet." I guess that's Chick-fil-A. Oh, yeah, because it's funny. She put Chick-fil-A. She's trying to put Chick-fil-A, and then she tried to correct her comment, and the autocorrect changed it again. She said, "I wish Chick-fil-A would chill a bit. They're at your window wanting your order when you've not even seen a menu yet." That is something I noticed. You have to ask for a menu. That may be the only thing that Chick-fil-A is like, you come here a lot, you should know what you want.
Well, I was getting ready to say it's Chick-fil-A. You know what they have? They have chicken. You know what else they have? They have more chicken.
I'll let Jay make you on that
funny. Do what?
I said I'll let Jay May get back to you on that one.
Oh, it's funny. No, it's like going to McDonald's. Okay, I do not need a menu at McDonald's.
Yeah,
I've been going to McDonald's since I could like breathe. So I probably could tell you the menu frontwards and backwards and frontwards. And unless they've removed something from the menu, I know where it's at and I can find it pretty quickly.
Do you know what they don't have at McDonald's anymore?
There's a lot of things they don't have. They don't have the steak, egg, and cheese bagel down here that I just fell in love with. Oh my gosh.
They don't have grilled chicken.
They don't have grilled chicken. Well, and they don't have like the chicken wrappy things. Yeah. They used to have the grilled chicken, which was okay, but I never did like their grilled chicken too much.
I mean, it's McDonald's. I mean, what are you expecting? You're not going to get like.
I don't know, man. I got a hankering for one of their McChicken sandwiches the other day, and it was insatiable. I had to have one, and I'm not sure that my tummy could handle it, to be honest with you.
All right.
I did make a mistake. It was late one night. I was starving. I haven't eaten hardly anything. And for those of you who don't know, maybe you do, I had bariatric surgery just recently. And so my stomach is about that big. It's not very big at all. And so what I eat, I have to eat in smaller portions, and I eat lots of times during the day. Usually I try to eat about 4 or 5 times a day. But I'm down like 56 pounds at this point, which is pretty awesome. Wow. Anyways, long story short, I made a run through McDonald's, and I thought, let's see if I can tolerate something from McDonald's. And I had chicken nuggets. And I'm just going to say, before the night was over, I was praying to the good Lord to take me home. It was that horrible. So I can't eat anything with that kind of grease and stuff on. Oh, it was so bad, dude. It was so bad. And the thing is I couldn't throw it up. I couldn't get rid of it.
All right, we're done. Okay, we're good with that. I mean,
it was just sitting there percolating in my stomach. And,
man, I'm gonna have to censor everything you say now. You're not allowed to talk about that. That's like your dating life. We're gonna put that in the category of your dating life.
Oh, come on, that's funny.
About discussed again. Let's see here. So let's move on. Yeah, legendary. So Sam Goody was a record store, and Sam Ash had a bunch of instruments there that people could play and hang out there.
May says, "I want a menu, dang it."
Yeah, she did. That's why I was going to let her handle that. I wasn't gonna be the one that jumped in and tried to get it between you and J May and your comments.
Oh, no. Don't pit us together. No, I'm not mad at J May. If she wants a menu, she can have a menu. I'm not worried about that.
I'm just saying, you're the one who made the very strong comment that people
are apologies, J May. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. You can have all the menus you want.
The words you said were people are stupid if they ask for a menu at Chick-fil-A. That's what I heard. And that's what America
replay the audio, because that is not what I said.
That's not necessary. We all know what you intimated.
After you chastised me before we went on the air today about using the word stupid, I have been very cautious not to use the word stupid today, Aaron. So don't be stupid, okay?
You know what, man? Look at that. You already failed.
Now
we're gonna get arrested by the woke police. We're going to be in trouble. Let's see. Deb says, I got a burger from McDonald's because we were desperate and all they had was mustard. Mustard by itself is only for a hot dog. I tell you what, I did. Now, we're probably going to be going to a station break here. I don't have my track playing in the background because it jumbles up everything right now. We're going to be going to a station break over on the Crusade channel. So if we've already broke, it's probably broke in the middle of this. So we will, just so you know that. So we'll read some comments here until they rejoin with us over there. But I did... when we moved into our house in 2006, every day after work, we would go over there. My dad and I put in a floor in the kitchen. We were painting. We're doing a bunch of stuff. Allison did a lot of painting there. But there was a bunch of stuff that we do. So I would stop every day after work and get McDonald's and then take it to the house. And we would eat McDonald's. That happened in 2006. Okay. Every day eating McDonald's for like a month and a half. And by the time that was over, I was like, I don't care if I ever have McDonald's again. And the only thing I will go there for now pretty much is a breakfast sandwich if I get a deal in the app. But like if it's just regular lunchtime or food, I'm like, you know what? No, I'd rather go somewhere else to a better restaurant and then get food there. But my dad, who out there, who's old enough to remember the McDLT?
Oh gosh, yes. What was it? They called it McDouble, I think, where they had they always made a big deal because it came in the styrofoam thing that had the cold ingredients on one side and the hot ingredients on the other side, and you put them together.
Yeah, that was McDLT.
Yeah, you paid to put your own sandwich together.
But it was like, but my dad, whenever my dad would go there, he would always get his burgers plain, because like he would get them without ketchup, without mustard, without mayonnaise, because when he got home, he would always spend the longest amount of time putting his food together. But this was the McDLT, if you all remember that. So it had the advertisement of the slogan was, "We found a way to keep the lettuce and tomato cool and the quarter pound of beef hot." And they would put one side of the McDLT would have the bottom of the bun with the burger on it. The other side would have the top of the bun with all of the cold condiments. And then when you got home, you put that on top of each other and you had all your cold ingredients there. I don't know why they got rid of it. I don't know why they stopped selling it. I mean, it was a good idea. I thought it was pretty cool.
But because of that styrofoam and the crazy people that were doing the styrofoam stuff, that was a big thing. About the time that came out, if you remember, Aaron, they had all these major activist groups talking about how McDonald's has more styrofoam and in their hamburger, because you remember like the Big Mac and the quarter pounder used to come in styrofoam containers too.
Yeah, everything did.
And they were pitching a fit about that.
But they didn't get rid of the quarter pounders or the double cheeseburgers or the plain cheeseburgers. They just put them in paper wrap. So why is it that they couldn't?
I don't know.
Like maybe another container, a cardboard container or something like that, something different. But anyway, I thought it was a great idea. I was thinking about this the other day. There was another sandwich that came out a couple of years ago where they tried to make that the kind of the replacement for the McDLT.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, oh my goodness, it was like the McFresh or something like that, or I can't remember what it was, but it was supposed to have kind of a similar taste, similar ingredients and such to the McDLT. But of course, that's McDonald's.
How many remember the McJordan?
I never heard of the McJordan. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was in the 90s, I think 92, 93 time frame. And it was a hamburger named after Michael Jordan, right? And the whole purpose of the hamburger was it was basically a cheeseburger with bacon and barbecue sauce on it.
The McJordan. No.
Yeah.
This is really let's see. The McJordan. Oh, look at that. Try a McJordan special. Yeah, you're right, bro. Never heard of this before.
Well, I am a little older than you, so
let's see. Yeah, I'm not by much. Yeah, so the McJordan special. So it's just like a quarter pounder with pretty much just looks like a quarter pounder.
It had bacon and barbecue sauce on it. Yes.
Oh wow, that's interesting. All right, well that's enough McDonald's talk for today. I'm sure we've given them enough free advertisement for this.
Steve says he wants Druthers to come back.
So now there's another thing here that you obviously people drink coffee out there. You use a Keurig at all, Brian?
I do. In fact, we just ordered some new ones for our church.
I thought, now I'm thinking that this is the way that I think, because I always think about situations down the road. What's it going to be like?
Public service announcement, guys. Aaron's thinking, put your seatbelts on. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I look at like with NASCAR. What are they going to do with NASCAR? What are the environmentalists going to do? I'm surprised they haven't already attacked them to the point where that it's almost impossible to have a NASCAR team because of the emissions that they have, the gas, the carbon footprint, etc. I'm so glad that they're not, but I'm worried about what's going to happen when they do come after NASCAR. You're going to have the Bubba effect. People are going to be really upset about that. But there was another thing I thought whenever I looked at the Keurig cups, and I'm always thinking, I'm not thinking like me, oh, look at the environmental impact. I'm always thinking, what are these companies going to do when the environmentalists come after them? And I always wondered about that little plastic cup that they put the Keurig in, and then inside that with a filter and all of that. We know the coffee's biodegradable, but the foil and the plastic cup on there, it's just weird. We try to figure that out. But now Keurig is putting the round in coffee grounds with its newly unveiled sustainable design of its popular single-serve beverages. Now, Keurig Dr. Pepper, that was interesting. I didn't realize that partnership until I saw this article the other day. The beverage manufacturer's parent company announced a new era of its Keurig single-serve brewing system, including a completely reimagined coffee system, which includes plastic and aluminum-free ground and pressed coffee K rounds. So it's going to look like this. All it is a pressed round of coffee. A lot of these, and that's how a lot of these really nice places do this. They will have the coffee that is then pressed into this small circular cup, not really a cup, but a puck. I'm sorry, into a puck, and it's compressed, and then that's what they push the coffee through. But they said in a press release recently that the company called the new K Rounds a revolutionary new form of single-serve coffee made from expertly roasted coffee beans that are ground, pressed, and wrapped in a proprietary protective plant-based coating, preserving the coffee's flavor and aroma, eliminating the need for plastic or aluminum. What do you think about that, Brian?
I think it's kind of a neat idea. Probably about 2 years ago, I bought one of those refillable Keurig cups.
Oh, the K cups, yeah, the personal K cups is what they are.
Yeah, but it's a little wire mesh, and you just put the coffee in it and then stick it into. I haven't completely gotten the hang of it, and I've not been able to use it very much. But I've got some coffee. I think it's called Bones Coffee. I think. But it's this really rich flavored coffee that I wanted to use in my Keurig because I don't have a coffee pot. And so I thought, that's it right there. That's the ones. And they work really well, apparently. I just haven't been able to figure out the right amount of coffee to put in them.
You just feel
there's something about the pressurizing in it, though. There's something about that solid cup with the ins and outs, or because that mesh on the side does. I don't know what the deal is, but mine doesn't work the way I thought it should work. So
the ones that we used to have were enclosed on the sides, and it was a full hard plastic. And then on the inside, you had the filter, the wire mesh filter that you put inside. And I always just filled it up to the top and then screwed the top on and stuck it in there. And then that's what it was pressed through.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but they also do, just by the way, if you're looking for both, we had one of these. It's a side by side. So it's a Keurig with the K cup side on it. So if you want a cup, just a single cup, or on the other side of it, like all built in, is a full coffee pot.
We've got one of those at the church, and I don't like it at all. I've tried to use it. It's just not user friendly.
Really?
Well,
I mean,
here's the thing.
It's user error.
Well, it is most definitely user error, and I'll give you that much. But I'll say this: if I have to read instructions on how to use something, I'm probably not going to take a lot of time because it's not that important to me. When it comes to a coffee pot, I mean, there's other things I read instructions on. I'm not trying to be that guy, but if it's that hard to figure out to use a cup, I'll run up to McDonald's and get me a cup of coffee. I don't care.
Yeah. I would suggest, real quick, Brian, not to interrupt you. I would suggest, if you're going to do something, if you want to try to master that, I guess, if that's the right word to use, I would go with something like this. This is similar to what we had, but it was, like I said, it was closed around the sides.
Yeah.
And it's kept that pressure you were talking about in there. And then you just filled this up with your coffee, and then, bam, you're good to go. I mean, but that's want to.
So I ordered some really dark roast coffee about a year ago. From this company called Bone. I think it's called Bones, I think. Anyways, but it's Nicaraguan coffee. It's really, really dark roast. It's supposed to be really, and a friend of mine wanted to age some cigars in coffee to see if he could get that Java flavor. And from what I understand is once you order it, you get on their mailing list. And so occasionally I'll just get this random pack of coffee in the mail. The other day, I got a pack of coffee in the mail, coffee grounds, that literally was cotton candy flavored. And I'm just dying to try this cotton candy flavored coffee. And I don't have anything to cook it in. I'm like, what the heck, man?
Are you serious? Cotton candy flavored?
Something about it doesn't sound right, but then something about it just intrigues me. I don't know.
if you want some great coffee, and this is one of those, just my suggestion to you, if you want some great coffee right now, if you go to shop.mikechurch.com, and this isn't like a commercial or whatever, I just know because I've had this coffee before and it is so good. The Capuchin dark roast, It's a Crusade Channel Capuchin Dark Roast Gourmet Coffee. And then they also have, let's see, coffee right here. They also have, it's the, oh goodness, I wish I could say it. I'm gonna mess up. Well, the Abbey Roast coffee from Our Lady of Guadalupe Monastery. That stuff is so good. The Abbey Roast and the Capuchin Dark Roast. I've had those two before, and dude, they are so good. You're talking about gourmet coffee.
Yep.
And, get it. It has got this really nutty flavor to it. Just absolutely fantastic. So if you go to shop.mikechurch.com, let them know that I sent you as well. I don't get anything from it, but I want them to know that, hey, you know, we love you guys over there. We're supporting you. They've been so awesome supporting us, and you know, with all the tech issues that we've had. And Mike Church will forever be the dude that gave me my big break. I will always look to him as the guy who gave me my big break in radio. But anyway, check out that coffee. It is absolutely delish. And now for the episode, or the part of the show that I've been a little bit reluctant on in the past couple of weeks. We didn't do this last week, but we're going to do it here, back by popular demand.
You're teaching some bad theology. Your bad theology's annoying me. Oh, you're teaching some bad theology. Repentance is the only cure that you need.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is a section of the show where we talk about bad theology. We discuss all the crazy things going on in the world of theology and why they are weird. They might be semi-good, but you know what they say, a cup of water with just a drop of arsenic is still poison. So we got to be careful with a lot of these theological things we come into contact with. And Brian typically is the one that gathers all of these. So most of these, to me, are sight unseen. So I don't know most of what I'm about to see. I did kind of cheat because I watched one earlier.
So Aaron, are you taking up a new career as a bus driver? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, you know, I mean, like, no, not at all. I feel like if anybody's going to be a bus driver, Brian, I feel like it would be you, right? Because you throw this stuff out there, and I'm like, oh man, why do you do this to me, bro?
Okay, sorry.
No, it's all right, buddy. It's all right, man. I am forever grateful for you doing that for us and the show. So let's see what the first bad theology. Okay. How
Everybody
to cast
hold on to your butts.
This is how to cast out a demon.
Oh God.
And this is a woman by the name of Kathy DeGraw, and she is going to give us a quick synopsis on casting out demons. How do you declare to cast out a demon if you don't know its name? How to do self-deliverance. Let's see if I can get this screen. It's always difficult on Instagram because Instagram automatically starts playing the audio as soon as you get there. So I'm just going to jump to this and make sure that we are all good to go. Here we go.
How do you cast out a demon if you don't know the name and you don't know the words to say? How do you do self-deliverance? That's where declaration books come in handy. You just read them and you mean it. You read it with power and authority. Don't say, Spirit of torment, leave. No. Spirit of torment, leave. You have been served eviction notice papers. Tormentors, I cease your assignment in the name of Jesus. Every satanic encroachment sent to thwart my destiny, I say in the name of Jesus. Every evil spirit sent to torment me, get out in the name of Jesus. Spirits attacking my finances, I bind you and I restrict you in the name of Jesus Christ. I decree and I declare there'll be no demonic integration into my life in the name of the Jesus by the blood of the Lamb. Holy Spirit, fill me up.
Well, there we go. That is self-deliverance. Brian, what do you think about that? I see a small bulge on the side of your head, and it looks like you're trying to press that back in. Did you run out of duct?
I'm trying to hold it back in. So first of all, self-deliverance. Let's just talk about this for a minute, folks. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to hit me up in the chat or get in touch with me. But I'm going to tell you right now, no Christian can be demon possessed. If you are bought by the blood of Jesus Christ, you cannot, capital N, capital O, capital T, cannot be possessed by the devil. It is impossible. So there's no need for self-deliverance. Okay. Number two, I never once recall Jesus asking the demon's name. Now, there was one time when the demon told him his name, but I don't remember him ever asking because it doesn't matter. This is not about your authority. This is not about your tone of voice. This is simply about the blood of Jesus Christ. This has absolutely nothing to do with you decreeing and declaring anything. There is nothing in Scripture that tells you to decree and declare anything. I don't know why these people come up with this hokey stuff, and Kathy just said it right, and it sounds hokey. It is very hokey. These guys are just making this stuff up. There is nothing based in Scripture. So I don't know. Okay, so I was corrected. In Mark 5:9, it did say that he asked his name. I apologize. But that was you. Okay. But I don't know of any other time when that happened.
I didn't want you to look, silly.
No, you're fine. No, that's fine. And I couldn't remember if he specifically asked or if the demon told him. But regardless, that was not the normal thing, right? And people act like you have to be on a first name basis with these demons to have any kind of authority or power. The authority is not yours to begin with. The authority is Christ. And everything that you do should point to Christ.
I've always gone to this scripture. Now, of course, obviously we're always growing, we're always learning, we're always taking in new things. There is, and Bishop Ronald File Enright, Archbishop Ronald File Enright, Archbishop Ronald Feel Enright, and you can go to my TikTok page. You can also check out some reels that I've been posting up recently from an interview I did with him a couple of years ago. He talks about 3 aspects of demonic issues that a person can experience. There is infestation, there is oppression, and then there is possession. Possessions, he says in his work, are rare. Now, so some people will disagree that they're rare, but he has been on over 850,000 different cases in the past 40 years. He was actually attacked by a demon while he was in a prayer circle. The story is amazing. He said it felt like someone took a 2x4 and smacked him with this 2x4 in his abdominal area, jacked him up pretty good. And, but he talks about those 3 aspects of those, right? There is infestation, oppression, and possession. A Christian cannot be possessed by a devil, as you've covered, Brian, because it cannot pass the bloodline of Jesus Christ. When you see, Jesus talks about how a demon is cast out of a person, they leave that person, and then they roam around the world, and then they come back to the person out of whom they were cast. If they find that person empty, they will bring more of their friends, and that the second case, the second state will be worse than the first. Now, that is a demonic possession of a person. If you fill that person with the Holy Spirit, with Jesus Christ, the demon cannot take residence in there. Now, can a Christian be oppressed? Yes, a Christian can have a spiritual oppression on them.
Sure.
They can be oppressed by the devil himself. They can be oppressed by demons with the permission of God. Think about the book of Job. It tells us in Job that in order for a person, or in order for Satan to go against a person or to attack a person, God has to have permission. So that's a little bit of a solace to you. If you are a Christian experiencing this could be God chastening you. It could be him disciplining you. It could be him allowing this to be used for you so you can trust in him more and seek him more. Okay. There's all kinds of reasons why God would allow that to occur. Okay. But it does say that those things can happen. An infestation is something where you go to a building. Like, let's say Bobby Mackey's here, which they're about to tear down, by the way. Bobby Mackey's here. Yeah, they're tearing it down. Like it is either coming up in April or it already happened. They're doing one last ghost hunt there, and then they're going to tear it down. I don't understand the reason.
How are they going to seal up the hellmouth?
They're leaving that. He's leaving that section.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to leave that section. But
you don't want to leave that open just for anybody to fall into.
Right. but the point of all of this, though, is a person can be oppressed. Now, what I was saying, I'm sorry, about an infestation, where you go for an infestation is where demons or unclean spirits have gathered over the years because of intensely satanic things that have happened in this area, or intensely wicked things or evil that has occurred in a certain place. If there's been activity as far as Ouija boards, or communicating with other realms, or praying to Satan, or satanic activities, or a lot of energy that's directed at a place because there were murders. So there will be an infestation of either unclean spirits or physical manifestations of certain otherworldly supernatural things that happen at a place. When you conduct an exorcism, and I know that some of our Catholic brothers and sisters may disagree with us on this, but when you conduct an exorcism, you either go to a Catholic priest, or you go to an exorcist that is well versed in these things, and then they have to determine what is going on with this place, what happens, and then that has to be cast out. So knowing the name, or knowing the cause or the purpose of a particular thing, when it comes to oppression or possession, that's I believe can be necessary, because you have to find out if they have permission. You're casting something out that has permission to be there. Why does it have permission to be affecting a person? Is it oppressing a person because there's unrepentant sin, because there's unconfessed sin, because there's secrets in that person's life? What are the reasons that this unclean spirit is allowed to be bothering this person? So you would have to find out, what is that? Let's ask questions, dig deep, find out the spiritual issues a person's facing, and then you can begin calling out and casting out certain demons. I do have a bit of a concern, though, because some people jump into these instances without having the proper education, the proper knowledge, the proper spiritual backing, and they end up taking something home with them. They end up becoming impacted themselves. Now, as a Christian,
yeah, I'm reminded of the story in Acts about the 7 sons of Sceva, where they go up against the demons, and they literally talk to them, and they pray in the name of Jesus and Paul. They say, you know, we adjure you by the name of Jesus, who Paul preaches. And that statement alone, I've heard preachers preach on this. But if you study that, they didn't have a connection to Christ. They were using the power of the name of Christ. And if you remember the story very well, it says that the demon responded to them and says, Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are you? Mm-hmm. And then they were defeated rather epically by the demon. So first of all, I don't think that spiritual warfare is something that anyone who has not been prayed up, or who does not feel like that they are in a good position with God, or even there's a lot of people that may feel like they're in good position with God. I don't think it's something that you just need to go out and seek after. Financial issues, there's not always demonic activity that's keeping your bank account low. Sometimes it's just stupidity. Stop spending money that you don't have, right? Stop. There are times when I believe that there are some spiritual things that happen in our lives that can affect, our physical and financial and emotional type stuff. But, I think that one of the big disservices to people like this is they don't want to take responsibility for any of their own actions. They want to throw everything off on, well, there's some kind of demonic activity around me that's causing this. It could very well be yourself that's causing this, right? It could very well be your issue. And I was listening to Vody Bachman one time make a comment about those that decree and declare or bind the devil. And it's like, so what do you bind him for a period of time? Where's the coalition? So if a church on the east side of town binds him today, do we get to bind him next week? Or how does that happen? I don't know that anybody loosens the devil. So all these people that are praying for him to be bound, it obviously is not working, or it's not. I don't know that I follow all of that line of prayer and declaration. And I think it's sad because my Pentecostal brothers and sisters are going to think that I'm absolutely stupid for saying that. But my question is find it in Scripture. Tell me where the Bible tells you that you can bind the devil. I mean, I know there's places where it says whatever we bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever we loose on earth will be loose in heaven. But I don't think as a child of God, I have the authority. Now, Christ has the authority and God has the authority, but I don't think I have the authority to. I heard a man pray one time, and he said something about entering into the spiritual realm and arresting the devil and revoking all of his rights into the spiritual world. And I'm like, dude, just stop. Just stop. It sounds pretty and it sounds pretty awesome, but it's just a bunch of words. It's not legit.
And here's where I'm concerned about the way that we're dealing with spiritual warfare nowadays. We got a break coming up here quick, so we can continue this on the other side. But in Luke chapter 10, Jesus actually does say, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." But then, of course, don't rejoice over this, but rejoice that your name's written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Your name's
Right.
written in it, etc. But so Jesus does give them the authority or give his disciples authority to do these things, right? When you look at Mark chapter 16, the very end of that, it said, let's see, "And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick and they shall recover." So those are actually the commands or the marching orders, so to speak, of God. And those are those are what the Scripture is telling us we have the authority to do. The problem that we have is that sometimes people take that to that hokey stance. You know, I've seen people that have prayed that did not have anybody that in a prayer circle that wanted prayer. So the person anointed his own self on the head and slayed his own self in the spirit. Right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and it wasn't Brian and it wasn't me, but that was one of the situations where people take this to another level, to another step that is not necessary, right? And instead, like we said at the beginning of the show, instead these people make Christians look silly. All right, Brian, hold your thought. We're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, we're going to continue with Bad Theology. Got several other stories to stay with. It's a little bit of a different format here today, of course, because you know that because we're just different. We have a little bit of issues right now with our audio. So we're going to play some music for you. Brian and I are going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll discuss this and more. So keep it locked in right here on The Breakdown. Welcome back to the breakdown, everybody. Thank you so very much for staying with us during that break. We are broadcasting here on the Crusade Channel, live radio the way it should be, and over on Rumble and Facebook, Opslands, all kinds of places right now. We are grateful that everyone is taking the time to join us, everybody over in Rumble as well. Great conversations happening over in Rumble today, and some great questions we're going to get to momentarily. Here is a small clip of the show that I was telling you about that I did with Archbishop Ronald Field Enright a couple of years ago, and I like it. He's such a great guy, so knowledgeable in all of this. Plus, he just got some great stuff to say with all of his experience. So let's check that video out here as well.
People have levitated. I've witnessed it many, many, many times. And over the years, I can't even put a number up because it's almost a common occurrence. But when a person is possessed, they demonstrate all the signs: super strength, unbelievable ability of perception. They will know who you are based on your body movement. Do they know your mind? I'm going to say no, but they don't have to. They've been around from the beginning of time, which means that they have more knowledge than we could ever have. So they know all about human beings. They know what will break us. They know what we love, what we desire. They know all our hidden desires. And as a result, they take advantage of that because they've been around for a very, very long time. And they're powerful. They're powerful spiritual entities, and they're more powerful than any human, of course. People have.
So there's his explanation of demonic possession and what happens, the super strength and things that occur. We know that does. Just as a quick recap here. So what we were talking about before the break, there are three things to consider when there is demonic issues a person is facing. You have infestation, oppression, and possession. Infestation is where if there's a place that has had a lot of evil activity or a lot of evil energy directed towards it. For instance, if you're using a Ouija board or you're conducting Wiccan or witchcraft activities there, you're doing some type of demonic call, or you're communicating with otherworldly entities, attempting to communicate with the other realms. If there's a lot of energy that's directed there, if there's murder that has happened there and people are fascinated with the stories and they direct so much of this energy to that place, then that can draw spiritual entities to be there. And the infestations could occur by having ghosts, quoting fingers, appear as people. So demons will appear as a person that was murdered, or a demon will appear as a Civil War soldier. The other infestations that could occur would be literally a story that I heard was biomatter that is dripping from the ceiling, dripping down the walls of a certain
He
place.
slimed me. Sorry.
And then you also have. Then you would also have the second part of that would be the oppression, where a Christian or an unbeliever is oppressed by a demon. They are attacking this person. They are doing something against them, obviously for nefarious purposes. The reasoning we don't know. It could be in a Christian's life, unrepentant sin or covered sin or unforgiveness, something along those lines that causes a person to hold on or to dwell on that, which brings that oppression there. And then the third would be the possession, the perfect possession, where a demon has entered into a person and is causing them to physically hurt themselves, or causing them to be distressed, or causing certain ailments or issues that a person has. Medical issues that a person has could be linked back to demonic possession as well. All three of those obviously are extremely severe and require very in-depth, intense spiritual intervention. Otherwise, that person or that place can be under great attack for a long time. So it needs to be covered. Now, I believe that a Christian does have the ability to pray, of course, over themselves and ask for deliverance from God for certain things so that they do not have issues and that they can be freed from that somehow. Absolutely. I would definitely seek the assistance of someone else, though. Deb says here, why do so many other religions think they have the authority that we are able to bind spirits and pray over others? Well, because the Bible does say that the Christians have the ability to to whatever we bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, whatever we loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. It also tells us that we have the ability over unclean spirits, as we read there in Luke chapter 10, when we were discussing that in Mark chapter 16. These signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. Those signs follow them that believe. That's why we know as Christians we have authority to do certain things. Now, of course, we always are under the auspices of God's ultimate authority and his sovereignty. And if he does not want something to happen yet, then our prayers are not going to be answered in the affirmative now. It may be a later. It may be, hey, the Lord is doing a work, and he appreciates your prayers, but that something may not happen at this moment. And then also in Luke chapter 10, it says, behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. That tells me, you look at other world religions, the Hinduism, and you look at Buddhism, and you look at Islam. These lack the spiritual power because they don't have the authority of Jesus Christ on their side. That's the difference. That's why there's a separation there. Interestingly enough, Brian, I saw this, and this is such a weird story. I have never heard of this before in my entire life. Now, those of you who listen to the show know that Allison had a disorder right after she had COVID. It happened about 6 months, maybe 7 months afterwards, and we had COVID in 2021. No. January of 21. Yes. No. January of 22, I think. Anyway, after we had COVID, January 21. After we had COVID, yes. Allison developed a condition, and I'm sorry if I smell, or I smell. I'm sorry if I smell, and my show.
I can't smell you, so it's okay. We're not sitting across the room from each other.
I'm sorry if I pronounce the name of this incorrectly, but it's called parosmia, Parosmia. It is a distorted sense of smell, and it happens when the smell receptors in your nose don't detect or transmit those correct odors to your brain. So there's something wrong with your olfactory senses, and it's your smell and your taste as well. It could be one or both, but there is a physiological issue that happens, and it occurs after a viral infection or after a sickness. It can occur after blunt force trauma, where a person smells like the thing for Allison, she smelled coffee, but it smelled like rotten chemicals. Yeah. And then there was another peanut butter was like, she could not, if you open up the peanut butter jar, she could not be around you for a year and a half, almost 2 years. I had to take our coffee maker outside. I had to make my coffee outside because if the house smelled like coffee, it would make her sick, make her nauseous.
Wow.
It's with peanut butter and chocolate, and her favorite candy is Reese's. So it's like peanut butter and chocolate. She couldn't eat that. It was driving her crazy. Bananas had a weird taste. Chips, potato chips, like her Cool Ranch Doritos, tasted chemically. It had a very chemical flavor to it. It is a temporary condition. It can last for a long time, but it's a temporary condition. She's coming out of it. Like now she's able to actually be in the same room with coffee. She drinks coffee, not as much as she used to. She used to drink 2 to 3 cups a day. Now she drinks maybe 2 to 3 cups every 2 weeks, so it's very limited on how much she can, but slowly coming back. But I saw this story. This guy was trying to get into his car, and when he tried to pull the door open, he slipped and fell back and hit the back of his head. All right. A period of time after that, he began to look at a person's face, and this condition caused him to see demonic faces on people. This is so Victor Shara had always had sharp vision, but one life-altering event in November 2020, he noticed out of the blue that people's faces around him looked demonic. Their ears, noses, mouths were stretched back, and there were deep grooves in their foreheads, cheeks, and chins. My first thought was I woke up in a demon world, said Shara, 59, of Clarksville, Tennessee. You can't imagine how scary it was. Someone he knew taught visually impaired people and suggested he might have, this is another big one, prosopomatophormosia, prosopomatophormosia, or PMO for short.
Nailed it.
You like that? I'm batting 1,000 today. It is an extremely rare neurological disorder of perception, which causes faces to appear distorted in shape, size, texture, or color. And he thought that the symptoms were a match. So what he did, of course, was go to the doctor and get diagnosed with this rare disorder that he has. Crazy enough, check this out. It doesn't happen when he's looking on digital pictures. So it doesn't happen if he's looking at a picture. So if somebody gives him a picture of you, Brian, it would just look like you. But if he looked at you in person, that's where he would see the distortion.
So
if he's
inside of me, right?
Yeah, he'll see the demon inside of you. Yes.
Gotcha.
So it appears on it doesn't appear on pictures, it doesn't appear on television or on Zoom calls or anything digital. So what scientists were able to do is they were able to take a picture of a person. They were able to give him the picture so he can see what they look like, and then they would put him right as they would make him look at the actual person, and then they were able to do artist renderings of what that person looks like. This is the difference. This is what it is for those that are watching. The normal face is on the left. The distorted face is on the right. Look at that, man. And then on the side view shot here. I mean, this is isn't that incredible?
It is incredible.
So like if you're listening and not watching,
it is incredible.
No, go ahead, Ron. You're good, man.
I was gonna say it is incredible. I mean, it looks more like something that would be along the lines of the Joker, not really demonic, but that's just my opinion. I don't know.
You know, well, it almost looks like I don't know. It almost looks like an elf or an orc or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay. And so for somebody to say demonic, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this whole demonic stuff and everything is a demon and everything's this and everything's that. I don't know that I'm there. I think that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of Christians that are trying to claim demons behind every little bush and every little tree. And there may be, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that the spiritual warfare has as much of a daily influence as some of our evangelical brothers would like us to believe.
Well, I mean, that wasn't necessarily the point of the story. I thought it was pretty fascinating that a guy could get a bump to the head, a crack to his noggin, and I would be mad. Like if I'm going to get a crack to the noggin, I want to wake up a freaking genius. I want to wake up like if I get hit in the head with a baseball bat.
He said, "I want to wake up a freaking genius." That's awesome.
I want to wake up the next day able to do like Tesla style experiments in my brain. You know, some kind of genius level chess player or something. I don't want to walk around and see demons on people's faces. I mean, I got you. General math. I mean, like anything would be an improvement when it comes to math or science in my perspective. But to wake up to think that you could get a superpower, like my luck, if I were to ever get hit with atomic rays or radioactivity, I would be mutated into some like big blob of worthlessness rather than some kind of, taught superhero with all these massive powers. All right, folks, you're listening to us on the Crusade Channel live radio, the way it should be, also over on Rumble and Facebook and on OpsLens as well. Let me do this here. Let me play. We actually got, where did it go? We actually got ourselves a sound off. So let's go ahead and play that sound off here before we go to before we go to break. And away we go. All right, there we go.
You know, I look at this and it's reminded me of my days when I was in the Word Faith movement, because my former pastor, when I first got saved, worked directly with Kenneth Copeland. And so they had me doing the name it and claim it, grab it and blab it, speaking things into existence and speaking in tongues, which I did not have the gift. And I remember how I was on a mission to try to exorcise every demon, break down every Jehovah's Witness and Mormon door, to rebuke all evil spirits. And so my take and understanding of spiritual warfare was completely warped in stupidity. And I look at this simple verse, or a couple of verses in James chapter 4, verse 7 and 8. Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. So the idea is, in true spiritual warfare, we stand behind God and let him deal with the demonic forces, rather than this whole idea of thinking that we're ghostbusters. Is completely idiotic. And if we keep being so braggadocious, we'll get our butts whipped like the sons of Sceva.
Yes.
That's just my 2 points. And praying that you guys are still well. And what happened to Erica? What happened to Erica?
Yeah, for those that are hanging out, we fired Erica. She's out. We're like, you're done. She's actually on out of town. She's out of town this weekend, and we knew she was going to be out of town. It wasn't sudden or anything like that, but we were like, hey, because typically whenever you go out of town when you do the show, there's, even though things are really set up, on the cloud, most of the stuff I was able to come over here to my dad's house in his studio and just run. I would say 80% of the necessary items that I needed were already in the cloud. And then it was just configuring all the technical stuff, which the King Dude Mike Church helped me out with this morning. But you have to have a microphone, a quality microphone of some sort. And I say quality, you can do. Brian has done the show on the road with his cell phone, driving in his truck with his Bluetooth speaker on, I think.
Yeah.
His Bluetooth headset on. So, it's possible, but it's also a little bit of a pain. You go out of town, you've got traveling weariness, you're outside, you're getting ready for some event, and you have to take 2 hours out of your Saturday to do a show. But it's also, you have to get up before, you have to get prepared, you all gussied up and everything like Brian and I do to be on the show.
Yeah, you have to look beautiful, and looking this good, folks, is not easy. I'm just saying.
I did not roll out of bed looking like this.
That's right.
Yeah, but back to what Watson was saying.
Actually, I kind of did, but
you got me. I'm wearing what I slept in, so I wouldn't have to worry about. Like what Watson said there, especially about the Word of Faith movement, that needs to be addressed regarding the Word of Faith movement, because the Word of Faith movement, for those of you who are not aware of that, the Word of Faith movement teaches that faith is a force. Our words are the container of that force. And when we speak something into existence, or we claim something as legitimate, that God is legally bound or required to fulfill that for us. And it's also called the prosperity gospel, where you believe in faith as you give money, or you, quoty fingers, sow a seed into a ministry, that God will financially bless you. Now, there are promises that God has given to his children in the scriptures, and we can claim those promises or hold on to those promises. But my daughter and I were talking about this the other day. There is a difference in relationship, right? I can come over to my parents' house like I'm here today. I have a key to their house. I have the code to their garage door. I can walk into their house. I don't have to knock. I usually announce that I'm there or let them know that I'm coming, but I can put the key in the door, unlock it, open the door. Whenever I go into the kitchen, the first thing I do is I look on the stove, because if there are leftovers on the stove, that means anybody can have them. But if it's sitting to the right of the stove on the counter, you're not allowed to touch it. So I know the rules. I grew up here. I can go to my dad's fridge and rate it and take a Mountain Dew if I so desire.
Wait, there's positions in the kitchen where food is off limits. That is rich.
Like growing up, if we went out with our friends and we came back late, mom and dad were in the bed. We came in, and on the stove, if there's like a box of like a pizza box there, and there's pizza in it sitting on the stove, that means you're allowed to have it. And we would just tear into the pizza, or if it was White Castle, whatever the leftovers were, we ate it on the stove there, right? Now, if you come in and it's sitting on the counter right next to the stove, that means this is not for you. This is for me, or this is for dad, or this is for mom, whatever. You're not allowed to touch it. I found that out the hard way when I ate the rest of my dad's hoagie one time, and he was like, "What happened to my hoagie?" And you don't get in the way of a man and his hoagies, right? But anyway, that was that. So I could walk into their house. I can check where the leftovers are. I can walk to the fridge. I can snag a Mountain Dew. I can move pillows off the couch and sit down and be comfortable.
Or a case of Mountain Dew, as was a previous entertainment model.
I do that quite often. Yes. But because, and if I, let's say I needed something, I went to my dad, like, Dad, Mom, Dad, I need to borrow your car. Or I'm really sorry. Can I borrow some money? Right? Not that I do that, but the fact that I can go in there and boldly walk into my parents' home and boldly ask them for things, or boldly take a Mountain Dew, shows you our relationship. That's how close I am to my parents. Mm-hmm. I can do that even though I don't live here anymore. That is the same way. But if I were to walk in and sit down and look at my dad and be like, "All right, give me some money. What do you got for me today? Where's my money? Come on. Give me. Where's my case of Dew? Give it here. Give it up. Let me have it. Where are the leftovers? Give me some." If I were to do that, my parents would be like, "What the crap are you doing? Why are you acting this way?" There's a boldness that comes with my ability to approach my parents, but there's a deference of respect and love that I have for them, in that I don't want to take advantage of my parents, right? That's the same way with relationships. And we're told in the Bible that we can boldly go into the throne room of grace. We can approach our Heavenly Father, and we can be so bold as to ask him for good gifts from him. We can be so bold as to remind him of promises, and then ask him to fulfill those promises, and he can do those things for us. But if I walk into the throne room of grace and demand that God is legally required to answer my prayers, therefore he should give me XYZ, then I think I'm in for a rude awakening as to my actual status with him. So that's all part of our understanding of where we are in God's hierarchy. He loves us.
And knowing your Father, he will clear up that misunderstanding quickly.
Yeah. Yes. And as they rightly should. But we have a good Father who loves us, who wants to provide for us, who wants to give us good things, who wants us. In John 10:10, it says, "I have come that they might have life and they might have it more abundantly." That is a cringe verse for people that hate the Word of Faith prosperity gospel movement, but it is a beautiful verse for those who embrace and accept the fact that God is our Father and he loves us, and we are to be bold in our interactions with him, and also to love him the way that he is to be loved and respected. All right, you can leave your sound off. BreakDRadio.com. Click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. We will play that and we will make you famous. Let's do this. Brian, up in Indiana. I know this story really got you fired up.
It did. And, East Central Indiana, just a little bit, probably closer to the Cincinnati area. It's within, they call the tri-state area up where you're at, Aaron. This kid, for whatever reason, he put an American flag on his pickup truck. And the thing about the American flag is that,
what a racist bigot.
Yes, racist bigot, because he put the American flag in. Anyways, so he put the American flag on his truck, and apparently someone at the school had issues with it. basically what ended up happening was they asked him to remove the flag from his truck. He said they were going to make a request to remove the flag from his truck, and he said, "Well, since it's a request, I'm going to deny your request." And this controversy went on for about a day and a half. And when word started spreading around the school, he said that his cell phone was blowing up and that he had all kinds of people that were promising to do the same thing. A little bit over 2 to 3 a dozen people went out and bought flags to put on their trucks. The school came out and apologized, and then the next day they redacted their statement saying that that students could fly the American flag. And this brought kind of a sore spot up for me because I honestly am sick and tired of people saying that one of the standards of our country is racist. And it's, when I did a look for this story after I posted on Facebook, and I did a look and did some research last night, I found that it's mostly these activist groups. BLM is one that's very prevalent in this. BLM and some of these other activist groups, when it comes to when it comes to like Veterans Affairs and things like that, are demanding that our veterans renounce or recant their allegiance to the flag. And I know you and I have had talks about this before, Aaron, and you have a different view of patriotic allegiances and how they can become almost idolatrous, and I understand that. But people saying that the flag itself is racist, the stars and the stripes are completely a hate symbol, and I think that our country needs to go back to some basics. And I know a lot of veterans who fought and gave a lot to this country under the standard of that flag. And to call these men and women racist simply because you think that their history is offensive is completely revisionist at best. But on top of that, one of the things that I love about our country is the fact that we have the First Amendment, and I can fly whatever flag I want. And if you don't believe me, go into your elementary schools where they're flying the pride flag, or they're flying the these crazy other free Palestine flags. These are going on in your education system that you pay taxes for. And it really bugs me that we can fly whatever kind of depravity that we want to fly, but we neglect one of the standards from our country and the founding fathers. And I just really, it really upset me. I love what he did, and I thought it was amazing. I found out after doing some more research that when they decided that he was not going, or when he decided he wasn't going to take the flag down, and he had such great support, he went and wrapped his truck in American flag and Americana symbols. So and he's getting ready to go into the military. He hasn't decided which branch he's going to, but he's a senior in high school. And I think that people just need to understand that a flag is a flag. And, if you want to fly the gay pride flag, fly the gay pride flag. It doesn't mean that I'm going to, be in your store or your stop, or your store or your shop. You're saying what you stand for. And so I think people need to back off when you have veterans out there that are flying the flag, or you have just, students that are flying the flag. They are trying to show their pride in our country. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, you didn't cut me off at all. I appreciate what you're saying there. He said that people were after this happened, people were then making trips to shops and purchasing flags. If you're looking to make this stand in your area, what I would do first is buy a stock of flags. And that way, when you're in the ground and they needed to buy flags, you could be like, right here in the back of my truck, y'all.
That's it. You
kind of answered one of my questions there, Brian, because my next question was going to be, would you, if this situation were the exact same, but replace that American flag with the pride flag, would you be as adamant that person has the right of free speech to stand up for what they believe and to fly that flag on their probably a Prius?
Here's the thing, Aaron. I think that the First Amendment gives us the right to do just that. And I'm not going to squelch anyone else's right to fly the flag. I'm not going to squelch anyone else's right to say that, if they want to fly the gay pride flag, or if they want to fly the pride flag, or if they want to whatever they want to fly, if they want to fly a POW flag or the Gadsden flag, I think they can fly whatever they want to fly. I think it speaks of their character. I think it speaks of their stance politically. I think that it speaks in a lot of ways. And I don't think that, we don't have to demonize the pride flag because they tell us what it means. And they keep adding more colors to it because it doesn't have a definitive stance. I don't think, I thought that was cute, Watson, too, the Prius. But I don't think that when we're looking at what they're flying and how they're flying it, there's no question about what the stars and stripes mean. There are 13 stripes for the original 13 colonies. There are 50 stars for the 50 states. That's it. I don't believe even in a little bit that there are any issues with race that have to do with our flag. Has our country been perfect? Gosh, no. Our country has made mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. And depending on your political stance, we could talk about the latest administration being one of our greatest mistakes, but we'll go a little bit from there. What I will tell you though, and what I will say about all of this, is that if you fly your flag, whatever that flag is, I'm going to go one step further. Not too far from here, probably about 15 minutes from my house, is a Confederate memorial. And I know that this is a very controversial statement, but they fly a very large Confederate flag right on Highway 24. And, I believe that there is history behind that flag. I believe there's history behind that memorial. And I don't look at it as a race issue. I don't look at it. Now, there are a lot of people who take it as a race issue, but they also take the Stars and Stripes as a race issue. They also take the Gadsden flag as an issue. They also take the Christian flag as an issue. But nobody wants to talk about the pride flag being an issue. Nobody wants to talk about the pedophile flag being an issue. We can do whatever they want to do, but we can't do what we want to do. And I think that there's intent behind some of this, and I think there's also history behind this. And I think that it's time that Americans stand up for the right. If you have the right to not be happy, I have the right to not be happy. If I have the right to fly a flag, you have a right to fly a flag. It's called the First Amendment, and I think that we need to embrace it.
All right, folks. And I gave Brian his First Amendment rights. For those people who don't think I do, I gave Brian the First Amendment right to speak.
and now he's going to cut my knees out from under me.
No, I agree with 99% of what you said there, because the right of a person to display. Now, something could be said about it being at a school, but if there's nothing written, nothing there that tells the kid they can't do that, then I'm not quite sure. I don't have an issue with him standing up for that, flying the American flag. We do live in America. There's no problem with you flying an American flag. There's no problem with you flying whatever flag you would like to display. If that's what you want to do, do it. You have freedom of speech. We shouldn't teach our kids that they're not allowed to express themselves. Agreed. Because that's the entire of this particular climate in which we're living, isn't it? Express yourself, be your true self. Well, my true self, if somebody calls them true self, they say, well, I'm a patriot. And then that's what they do, is they display a flag. If you're listening to us over on Rumble, don't forget to like and smash that. Don't forget to smash that like button, and don't forget to share the show as well. We would greatly appreciate that for everybody out there to hear about the breakdown and all of the stuff that we're talking about, which, as you can see, are all over the spectrum.
This
on
is
different
the Heinz
topics.
57 show, folks.
I don't think you were on the show when Erica and I discussed this, but so I would like to get your quick opinion, your snapshot opinion of this story. A mother in Texas facing charges after trying to help her son with a bully at school. So far, so good. After learning a classmate was stealing her son's drink, Jennifer Lynn Rossi mixed a concoction to deter the student from taking the drink in the future. It says here that deputies learned the drink provided contained a mixture of lemon, salt and vinegar, and it was inside a sports drink bottle. So this young man at school, this bully, would come to her son, would take his drinks on his sports drink from him, and then drink it himself. So he was stealing the drink. So she said, we're going to deter this. This isn't going to happen anymore. So she put this concoction in the drink. The bully drank it. He got sick to his stomach, started getting a nausea and a headache, had to go to the hospital. The authorities, even though the drink was non-toxic, the kid had to go to the hospital, required medical monitoring, and the mother, Jennifer Lynn Rossi, was charged with injury to a child causing bodily injury. What do you think about that?
So first of all, I can't imagine those ingredients causing somebody in like poison or anything like that. I think that if it was actual poison or chemicals and it hurt the child, that's a major issue. I don't know that. I think my Christian stance would be, do unto others, or as Watson very very plainly said in the chat, was don't repay evil for evil. But I've also heard of people that are. The refrigerator at work has often been one of those things where people do stupid stuff to their own stuff, because you've got people that are stealing their food, stealing their lunches, stealing their drinks. So they put laxatives in there, and I'm kind of a toss up on it. I don't think she should be brought up on charges, to be personally honest with you. The kid's stealing. And although I don't agree with her actions, I can't disagree with her motivation.
So obviously, you want a mother that's or a parent that's going to stand up for their child.
Yep.
And that that they'll actually take care of the situation. Now, there's all kinds of ways. I don't know what she's done outside of this. She could have gone to the school. She could have gotten the child's name and reached out to the child's parents. There could have been multiple things that she could have done that would allow them or have given her access to this child and to the parents, so that she could in some way fix this issue and make it better, right? So that's pretty much where I fall. I believe that if I found out that my child was stealing a drink of another child from school, then we would definitely be having a conversation. If I found out that the child was then given some kind of concoction that made him sick and I had to take my kid to the hospital, I don't know what's wrong, I would be even more infuriated over something like that, because another person has assaulted my child, right? So I would be extremely upset about a situation like that, where my child was injured by another parent in a vindictive way.
How do you navigate the fact that your child brought this on himself by stealing from other people? I mean, again, I'm not saying that what she did was right, but I mean, lesson learned. You don't take something that doesn't belong to you, and if you do, you kind of get your just desserts. I've seen. You guys sound off about this stuff. I've seen the guys who do the Amazon pranks, where they put the exploding boxes in on the for the porch pirates. Again, Christian morals aside, not repaying evil for evil. I get it. But there's something about that vengeance that's like, yeah, you want to come take stuff off my porch? We'll watch it blow up in your face when you get in the car. I mean, it doesn't have to be violent or cause pain or anything, but it should cause some serious discomfort. I mean, these are just things that I don't know. I think that bullies are bad, and I think that when you defend a bully because he got hurt in the process of bullying, you're defending his actions, and I don't agree with that.
See, I'm not sure totally if you're defending his actions, but you're defending a child being assaulted by another parent. I mean, if this is something that happened to my kid, it stepped across the line. All right, I should be the one disciplining my child, right? You have taken it upon yourself to discipline my child, and you have taken it upon yourself to give you don't know the allergic reactions. What if that kid was allergic to something you put in there and it threw him into anaphylactic shock? What if the kid missed an important test or missed an important life event because of this? Now, I'm not excusing his bullying. Obviously, that's something that has to be dealt with. But the way in which a person goes about that must necessarily that cannot be dealt with by another parent stepping in and harming this child. Okay. Now,
again, I understand that, but I still go back to causality. If he's not doing things that cause people to want to retaliate, he's not going to be retaliated against.
Well, and so now honestly, there is again, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay. I'm not saying I'm not excusing what the child did. I'm simply saying that if another person were to do that to my child, there would be great cause for issues. There would be a huge problem I'm not. Maybe I'm speaking from. Oh, not maybe. I'm speaking from being the parent of a child, of two girls actually, and I know that there are other parents out there. If I found out my child was bullying someone, I would be furious, and I would want to fix that. How many things happen at schools that we don't know about? Right? How many things happen at school that parents never tell us about, teachers never tell us about? No one ever lets us know about those things. But if you're a parent and you find out that your child is doing something that is harming another person or hurting another person, then we address that situation, right? Think about it like this as well. Let's say a kid goes to school and he's bullying someone else and gets clocked, right? Somebody punches him in the nose, breaks his nose. He's got to go to the hospital. All right, okay. What were you doing that caused your broken nose? Well, we were fighting. Why were you fighting? Well, I was bullying him and he had too much, so he punched me in the nose. So you broke your nose. You got your nose broke because you were being a bully. What did we learn in this situation? And then you would discipline your child. You would teach your child the gospel, approach the situation in a way that shows obviously there are consequences to our actions. You were doing something that led to you being injured. That is a completely different situation than someone premeditatedly planning to injure you, right? What do you teach? What is the mom teaching the kid, right? What is the mom teaching the child? There are many ways. Here, how about you verbally stand up for yourself? How about you go and talk to the teacher? How about you address the situation that this young man is stealing my drink rather than being surreptitious, sneaky, and harming another person? Because you're teaching your child that it's okay to set booby traps. It's okay to harm somebody. It's okay to cause discomfort to another person because they're doing something you don't like. And we said that text, that from the scripture previously, in Romans chapter 12, we're told in Romans, the greatest theological masterpiece ever written, Romans 12, 19 through 21, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto the Lord, unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him a drink. But make sure it's not full of a concoction that's going to make him sick. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. Now, I would like to take a moment to juxtapose the story of this woman whose son was being bullied with the story of this father whose son was murdered.
But before you do that, can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
Okay. You believe, I believe my father was a godly man. Okay. I know you believe your father's a godly man. If your dad, what kind of advice did your dad give you for being bullied in school? And before you answer, I'll follow with what my dad told me. He said, if you get in trouble for fighting at school and you did not start it, You will be in trouble if you do not take your part. He wanted me to stand up for myself. Now, I don't know, again, I don't know that I agree with the whole idea of the concoction that she put in this guy's water bottle or whatever. I'm not sure if that's the same thing. I mean, we could talk about the differences between, like you said, taking up for yourself in the middle of a fight or setting a booby trap. But I don't fault the mom, and I really don't fault the kid. The kid was just as responsible because he knew what the mom had done. So
I thought this was supposed to be a quick question.
Go ahead. Sorry. Answer your question then.
Yeah, I want to move on to this because I want to juxtapose this mother who set a booby trap for a child that was stealing her son's drink that resulted in his illness to a father whose son was murdered at Kentucky Christian University. A lot of crazy stuff happening in Kentucky, by the way, at these Christian universities. Josiah Coleman, 18, was found dead in his dorm at Campbellsville University just before 1 a.m. on February 24th. He died of manual strangulation. So this is a very personal crime, right? He died of manual strangulation, according to a preliminary autopsy report. His father, Zeke Escalera, please forgive me, not his father. Charles Zeke Escalera, 21, a sophomore engineering student who was also a member of the school's wrestling team, faces a murder charge in his killing. The victim's father, Joe Kilman, made an appearance at their chapel service, and this was his appearance at their chapel service after his son was found dead.
Amazing young man.
Hold on just a second. Let me get back here.
Emotions. There's a lot of them right now, right? I'm an interactive guy. I want to hear, look, tell me some of your emotions that's been happening the past 3 days, 4 days. Yell them out. Yell them. Anger. Come on, hear me. Talk to me, people. Come on, be bold. Anger, sadness, unforgiveness, emptiness, hope. I love that. Anything else? Love, frustration, mad, confusion, guilty, condemned, broken. I've felt every single one of those emotions simultaneously since the moment I got the phone call. Emotions are one thing, but we have choices in life. Forgiveness is something I didn't hear because it's not an emotion. Forgiveness is a choice, people. If Josiah was standing here right now, if he had the opportunity to come down and speak to you, he would talk to you about forgiveness. It's the center of what Jesus is. Unforgiveness. That's a curse. It comes with things you don't want, things you don't need. So as Travis stood here and challenged you from the life of Josiah, I challenge you to choose forgiveness, because in that forgiveness, we become the light of Jesus. The comfort that I've felt from this community is overwhelming. By the grace of God, I stand here with the ability to talk to you, and it's only by God. I'm here to honor my son. From the bottom of my heart, Campbellsville, thank you.
And there you go. That forgiveness can only exist truly in the life of a Christian, in the life of someone who has been forgiven of their sins, in the life of someone who realizes that our natural state outside of Christ is a liar, a murderer, a thief, an adulterer, a blasphemer, an idolater, someone who realizes that is our natural state, and that only by God's grace are we forgiven through Jesus Christ, that we have forgiveness of our sins, so we can stand before him on judgment day cleansed because of the work of Jesus on the cross, not because of our good works, not because of things we do, because of what Christ has done. You juxtapose that story of a father whose son was murdered. He will never see his son find a girlfriend, get engaged, get married, have children, raise those children, send those children to college, produce grandchildren. I mean, he will never see that. He will never see the fruits of his son in this life. And he stood on that stage and encouraged other people to be the light of Jesus by extending forgiveness to the child, to the young man, 21 years old, who murdered his 18-year-old son. That's the gospel. And it's difficult for me to look at that situation and say, wow, that's a picture of love and grace and forgiveness. And then to read a story about a petty mom who puts a concoction in their drink to make a child sick, rather than going and addressing the issue and addressing the need. That, to me, you have good parents, and you have bad parents, and then you have okay-ish parents. I think I'm kind of in the okay-ish portion of that, because I don't think I'm a good dad. I don't think I'm a bad dad. I think I'm okay-ish. I'm like right there in the middle of that, because
He said I'm okay-ish. I love it.
I'm just okay. I know. And I did mention that. I want to get to this because there was a college student at another university here in Kentucky. A lot of answers aren't being given as well. A young woman by the name of Isabella Willingham. For those folks who may have seen this on MSNBC or other places, it's on New York Post. It is all over the place. It is a very difficult story to watch, but let me go ahead and share this because something's happening in Kentucky. We were talking about demons and spiritual issues and infestations and such. Maybe something is going on here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and we need to find out what the name of that demon is that oppresses us and call it out by name and cast it out in the name of Jesus.
A father's nightmare unfolding at his alma mater, Asbury University.
There's no way, that these could have been caused by anything other than somebody doing something, to her.
These photos showing her gruesome injuries. Andy Willingham's daughter.
So this young lady was found unresponsive in her dorm room at Asbury University. And it is, they were, as you can see here on the video, I'll play it here in just a minute again. You can see these are deep gashes, cuts, wounds on her knees, her feet, her body. There was some of her fingernails were ripped off of her body. Now there has been speculation, and this is why I do talk about demonism, Brian. There is speculation. Several people have said that within the dorm that this young lady was found. Several people have said that there is a witch's coven that exists and has been there, continuing on through students for decades, and that there were carvings into her body that are indicative of witchcraft rituals and demonic rituals, etc. So that's another reason why I think there's something happening in here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky that needs to be called out.
But again, I don't know that witchcraft necessarily is spiritual in nature, but it's still enacted by humans.
Here we go.
I'm not getting any audio, brother.
You're not getting any audio?
Are you hearing it? Because I'm not hearing any of it on my end here.
I am hearing it. It is unmuted here. It is unmuted there. Let me see if I turn that one off here. Can you hear now?
At about 11 o'clock that night, we get a call from the resident director of her dorm, and she tells us that Bella is in an ambulance on her way to the emergency room, and that she had been found unresponsive in her dorm on the floor by her roommate.
Her father says the 21-year-old student was put on a respirator, unable to breathe on her own. She wasn't released from the hospital for more than a week, but how she ended up unconscious is still a mystery.
As a parent, I want to know if there's a possibility of somebody coming into the school and into the campus that could be potentially dangerous.
All right, there you go. That is another story. Be in prayer for those folks here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We're coming up on the close of the show for the affiliates here. We'll continue for a few minutes here after and do a little bit of overdrive on this. But for those of you that are listening to us on the Crusade Channel Live Radio the way it should be, thank you so much for staying with us and for your support and your prayers. And until next time, make Christ supremely valuable. All right. Brian, you should be able to disconnect over there now.
Okay.
There you go. I'm going to take off there. All right. So those folks that are still hanging out with us over on Rumble, welcome. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, shoot. Well, there goes Brian. What happened to Brian?
I'm back.
Here we go.
Sorry. Are you there now?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out. This happened last time. If anybody's, no, darn, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. Oh goodness. So what happened here was, looks like we're still on over there. The Crusade Channel. I had the chat up here, and I had looked at someone's comment, and it froze my chat. And I was like, oh, well, nobody's commenting or chatting. And then I realized, if I scroll down, several people had made a comment on the chat there. So